我就放这个里面，就是为了怕那个暴露了，太招摇。台灯自己做了一个，用那个胶，然后它可以升降嘛，就可以。其实我之前一直你要这么搞的，我就不好放了就。
I don't think that actually they're boring to speak. Yeah. I think if you plug in, you're going to need to get that right. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? All the way through. So you need to Yeah.
Because they were younger.
Still listen to the same music.
Yeah, so we'll be wearing whatever we want.
Well, I think it's quite lucky to be born in the 90s. Someone like grungy or like they're interested.
So you can kind of just wear whatever.
Yeah.
I'm very conservative. I like preppy stuff.
Yeah?
Yeah. Wet jacket.
Yeah. Cool. You can prep it. It's polished and it kind of...
I like it. I like it. Fashion is who you are. Like, it's not obviously down to the people. If you want to be weird, that's just not nice.
But your personality matters your attire.
Yeah. You feel like you have elements of like a different person. Like your name, like, because I love my phone. Like my phone.
Thinking about that, where did the craziness come out?
早上给的那个。
Oh. You're in the I'm from Brockenham, so like literally down. It's basically like you're in Southampton and then you're trying to like
Okay.
like a big forest.
Oh.
But I can from Reading to Underground, so I don't know how to get around it.
What I did was put a note on the board and spoke to the lecturer.
When Manchester. Look at that. Really? We've visited many places in England.
Not really up north. My dad lives not really.
Midland.
Yeah, the Midlands. I go to my friend in Birmingham and I'm like, hello.
Rummy North.
I've been to Sheffield with my dad, like, on my dad's family, even though he doesn't really have
在哪？这个好像是那个 lecture 嘛，第三个人。
Right. Really awkward, like, he scattered them and had the Yorkshire, whatever it was.
Oh no.
Oh well, I should have hated that.
Great. There's just one died on it as soon as you threw it out.
I like to sit on that sort
除了咱上次班上那些人是补习课，其他人都是选修课嘛？
Yeah, no, I'm not even apart from that. I'm the latest.
Yeah.
It's just like the first time
Just like properly visited London and fortnight for a day trip.
Yeah.
Never.
Do you feel like there is like a difference between people and everybody else?
No, I did until I met you.
Like,
I know this is the same. I was like, oh wait, no. That's why I asked where you're from. Like, personality appeared.
I think maybe it's me. And then my mum was always with us and she was like weird.
So we're 15 people short at the moment. I'll give it another 2 minutes and then we'll start, alright? So just carry on what you were doing.
Yeah, because it was like,
what you want to pay for? Come on.
Like, can you make it? It's so boring, so literally like, oh, you know, what's done? I'm like, law.
那哥们儿怎么说2009
Like, because I just done straight, I did like obviously A level, straight to undergrad, straight to my LC, then I did a master's, and now I'm like, no,
I think already done a master's.
I think so. I think it was just
Yeah, so应该是有你
I feel like it's in academic, and then it popped up. The only reason I did it because I saw it on the website, and it says like funding for a PhD, and I wanted to do a PhD, and I was like, what the fuck is this? And I was like, oh, cool. I thought do that. Yeah, I did it on a whim, and I never thought I'd do it. I guess I'll be doing that. I'm very chill about stuff. People always get really stressed. It'll work out. It'll work out. What did you do then? What have you like done before?
Teaching English.
Oh yeah, yeah.
你怎么知道？
Something about that. It's so weird because you don't look like you would speak that. You know what I mean? Like you don't look. Not that you would go in like going mad.
Yeah, I'm waiting to find someone.
那为啥叫 LAC 呢？但是它的缩写不是这个。
A lot of it is style, but it's funny because like, or like different reasons. Yeah, because I used to work at the Vietnamese guy in Croatia. So I'm talking to them, and they just like talk to them. It's like they can't tell, I can't.
Yeah.
You feel better.
I do feel better. I really want to go to.
So, welcome everybody. Happy new term, and it's great to see you all. My name, fantastic. My name's Leslie Carr. I'm a professor here, Professor of Websites. This is Nick Gibbons.
I'm an associate professor in computer science
Right.
at Web Teams.
And Mr. You've Been Tangoed at the back in the orange t-shirt is...
Oh, do you want me to say my name?
Yes, go on.
I'm Richard Briggs, I'm a teaching fellow in
Right, hello. Right, so welcome to the web architecture module. We'll just start off by trying to... Oh gosh, I can't stand there. Here I'm in the way, I need to be just about here, don't I? Right. So we'll just explain this whole module. Hello, come in.
Sorry.
That's quite all right. I walked into the wrong lecture theatre. Walked in, realised there was someone at the desk looking at all the people. I kind of backed out like this, but it was double doors. So I had to go through 2 steps, like an airlock, and that was a bit embarrassing. So this module is web architecture, and what we aim to do is to teach you the kind of the fundamentals of the web. And by fundamentals, I don't just mean the really easy bits. I mean help you get a really good overview of what makes the web the web. So there's the technical components. There's what people are doing with the technical components, and how you use those technical components and engineer them to produce a web service, a website, a useful website that people can get benefit from. And so we'll be looking at that aspect of it. We'll be looking at what is this information that people are making available through the web? How are they doing it? What do we need to understand about it? And how are people interacting with the web? What is this phenomenon that we had where you kind of see a page and you've got things and you can click on it? There's a word for that, it's called hypertext, and we'll be looking at the issues around that, about how people create information resources for different kinds of purposes, how you do it at scale, what the kinds of problems are. So we'll be trying to cover a lot about the web. You can see that we have a timetable. The timetable was what is this with Windows? I can't. Is it? Oh yes, good. I can use my finger. That's better. Right, we have a timetable. The timetable was changed yesterday afternoon, so, and most of you noticed. Well done. Good for you. So we have 3 lectures a week. One today at 1 o'clock. Well done. In this room. One on Thursday. Or am I being really boring already? I don't know. Perhaps we'll take a poll at the end. One on Thursday at 3 o'clock, which is in Building 2, which is, now which one's this? 1083. Is that the Nuffield Annex? No, that's 6A. What's that? Which one is Building 2? We can all look it up.
It's one of the flat ones. No, sorry, it's the brickledge. Yes, it does.
Do you know what? I deliberately put those links on there so that I wouldn't get into this position, and I've completely forgotten. Oh yes.
1083.
So it's this little hobbit hole entrance underground. So when you look at, you know, the nice landscaped bit with the lovely trees and the stream. When you go down there, as you walk past, you'll see a little set of steps that go down next to Building 2, and there are a set of lecture theatres in this kind of underground bunker, and that's where we are. You can go in at the other end of Building 2, which is near the Nuffield Theatre, and what will happen is you will walk all along the corridor through lots of fire doors, and eventually get to the same place. So it's much easier to go around here. Have a look at the map. So it's just along here. That's where those lecture theatres are. Just there. So that's where Thursday afternoon is, and then Friday afternoon at 4 o'clock, which is in Building 35. Building 35 is on the other side of the campus. Let's have a look in here. Does it actually give you a proper view of...
Yeah, it's like blue. It doesn't look very bright.
If you stand looking at, with your back to University Road, and you look at the library, you're in front of the library. If you keep moving just to the right, you'll eventually get to a little road that goes through the campus, and a pelican crossing. That is, where are we? That's just here. You go down that road and Building 35, and it's almost just as you're about to leave campus at the other end of that block. Building 35 is on your right.
Just past students.
Yeah, it's past students.
Yeah, so this is the big student services building. This is where the Vice Chancellor parks his car. And This is the big chemistry tower just here, and that's where Friday afternoon's lecture is. So, the colours on this timetable try to give you a sense of how the course is divided up. Oh, still can't do that. There we go. How the course is divided up. So there are three different activities, three different areas of the web that we want to cover, three different sets of understanding we want you to have. Each of those is in a different colour. And each of those has a different kind of assessment. So there's the, if you like, the practical stuff about how you build a web application, how you understand a web application to be constructed. It's not really about programming, it's more about how you organise information. All right? And we'll look at how that is done on the web. You'll hear about keywords like REST and do you know, I don't know how to pronounce this, I'm looking at the back, but HEITOAS, is that it?
I don't know. Whenever I'm introducing lectures, I consciously not read out the word.
Oh, right, okay.
So I don't know how you pronounce it.
There are different ways of sort of structuring your website and your web services, and we'll be looking at how you do those. Anyway, there's a piece of coursework associated with that, so you'll be doing something practical. And all of the activity, a lot of the activities that we have in the green area will be practically based. We'll be teaching you some things, we'll be asking you to go away and learn some things by looking up about them and trying them out. And then you will get a piece of coursework. That piece of coursework is due on the 22nd of November. All right, Tuesday the 22nd of November. Did I change that date? Yeah, Monday is the 21st, Tuesday is the 22nd. And it is done, I think is it done in groups, Ricky? No? We work together, but you give in an individual piece of coursework. That's right. Okay, fantastic. And so we will discuss with you. So you see that on one of these sessions there is the coursework launch, which is 1, 2, 3 weeks beforehand. Well, sorry, that comes on Tuesday, so 2 and a little bit weeks beforehand, where we'll be discussing the ins and outs of that. But we'll make it available for you to look at and read and understand beforehand. So that's the green bit. The blue bit, this is we call hypertext and history. So this is about not how do you engineer a website, but how do you deal with the information on it. Okay? How do you create information and construct documents that are interlinked and that work together? How do you create something, you know, the size of Wikipedia with hundreds of thousands of people producing content and editing? You know, how does this stuff work? We call it hypertext because it's more than just ordinary text. And there's been a lot of research about this and speculation about how we will write in the future, how we collaborate, how we do all sorts of things with our information systems. So that's all the blue lectures, and that's assessed by an essay, which is due in the middle of December. Okay? And so, Nick, do you want to say a few words about that, just to help people feel...
About the essay or the blue topic. So the idea here
well,
is...
both, I suppose.
So, I mean, these topics, you'll hear more about this from me in due course. The thing about the web is that people have been building hypertext systems for a good... Well, here we've been building hypertext systems for about 10 years before the web existed. hypertext systems and their predecessors have existed for hundreds of years before the web came along. So part of what I'm trying to get across there is the paths not taken, the other hypertext systems that didn't end up with the web. So you can understand the choices that were made in the design of the web. The essay is going to be a short essay. It's going to be fairly constrained. I'm going to get you to do it in the style of a short conference paper, so it's a 2 to 3 page conference paper. On a number of topics which I will select and communicate to you in good time.
And then the final set of lectures, these the ones that are in pink on here, are topics around the web, around the infrastructure of the web and how they actually deliver the web to us. So we'll be looking, for example, at search engines, at the way that the web is linked as a huge network structure. We'll be looking at how Netflix can use that network structure to deliver huge amounts of content to you with timed accuracy, so that you're not always pausing and waiting for your videos to download. We'll look at the way that advertising operates on the web. It's fundamental to the web. It pays for the web. We'll look at issues about net neutrality and intellectual property, and the business licensing, the business models for information on the web. In particular, we'll be looking at open data and open access. So there are those topics. Will all I've labelled them very generally as web infrastructure, and there will be an exam on those, which will happen after in the exam period after the Christmas break. So there will be when you get back from Christmas, there will be a week's review and revision, and then there's a couple of weeks in your timetable which are set aside for exams. You'll have an exam on that date. It'll be a 2-hour exam. You have to do something like 3 questions from 5, I think it is. And so we'll give you more information about that close to the time. You can look at past papers. There are revision videos available for most of these things that you have the exam on, and they're kind of like 10-minute summaries of the lectures. So you'll be able to look at those in the revision period. I think. Have I missed anything out there? This very brief overview. You guys know? Any questions about that? Yes.
Like you said on Friday when we met, that Friday afternoons, which obviously is graveyard shift 4 till 5 on a Friday, we wouldn't necessarily have to be there.
Well, you can discuss. We can discuss that with Ricky, but a lot of these will be practical sessions. Okay. And so there will be both an aspect of discussion and actually you trying things out there. And so we don't. I think it's. Sorry, I didn't have time to discuss this with Ricky before, but he
So what we will tend to do is have an activity set in the previous one. You'll do that during the week in groups, and then we'll feedback on it in the next week.
Yeah.
In this slot here.
Session, yeah.
Okay.
So it's something you could still do independently of attending.
I know. I mean, this is the sort of area that I know least about. So,
Yeah. Okay.
So
we can. I know a number of people have responsibilities outside the university that kind of make attendance at some of these difficult. We'll be looking to make lectures from here available. All the materials already online. and the university has mechanisms, although I know not in this lecture theatre, for recording the lectures where we go. So we will find out how to do that here. Right. So let us have a quick. There we are. I would like us, for the rest of this lecture, for the next 25 minutes, half an hour, to think about some really simple issues of the web architecture, the fundamental parts of it, the important parts of the web. What is it that made the web and not the internet? People often get those two things confused: the internet, the web. What is the unique selling point about the web? What was it that we didn't have before? So I want you to. So this man here. That's better. This man here is reading a newspaper on the web. There are, obviously, I've said it's The Guardian because that's the one I read. There are other newspapers. I'm not recommending that you have to read The Guardian. There are other genders available as well. It doesn't have to be a man using the web. So I want to spend a few minutes. I'm going to be asking you for contributions. I'm going to write these contributions down on the board. So there really has to be a lot of them, otherwise this board is going to look very blank. I would like you to think about what you know about the web. All right. So what web sites, programs, protocols, standards, data formats, all the three-letter acronyms that you can think about that go to make the web, that join together to make the web exist. So that when this guy's reading The Guardian newspaper online, what's happening behind the scenes? What's going on? What data standards? What information protocols are being used? So, with that in mind, I'm going to turn this picture off. I'm going to pick up one of these.
What is it?
Ooh, it's gone a bit grim, hasn't it?
The web. Yeah, you just.
Tell me about something technical about what made that man able to read The Guardian on the web. HTTP. Oh, go for the big one straight away. Right. So you're going to have to tell me what does HTTP stand for?
Hypertext Transfer Protocol.
Okay. And why is that a part of the web?
It enables you to communicate with another computer.
Okay. So it's an information protocol. So this guy's sitting on with his laptop. Where does HTTP come into it?
So it's kind of intermediary between. So you've got an IP address and you want to connect to.
IP. Right. Okay. So he's got his laptop. The Guardian's not on the laptop.
No.
No, is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
well,
so where's The Guardian?
There's three things you need.
Among the things you need.
Yeah, so HTTP, and then you need a domain structure so you can access it.
Oh, okay.
Page.
Okay, give me a. This is getting complicated. I might
you
shut
want to
you
go
down
into it.
before you give away all the secrets. Okay, so a domain structure. Anyone know the name of a protocol regarding that?
TCP.
Oh, TCP, that delivers that works with that. TCP and IP together make the
Exchange of messages.
yeah, there's a name for it. What TCP/IP creates? It's the
Internet.
the
Internet.
internet. Yes. Whoa.
Nailed it.
Warming you up. So we've got TCP, which is Transmission Control Protocol, and IP, which stands for
Internet protocol.
yeah, that's right. That'll do. Right. Okay. I'm going to try and Sorry, I just realised that. There you are. TCP/IP. That defines the internet. We've got HTTP, which uses TCP/IP to get to a web server. Right. Okay. Anyone name me any web servers? Apache. Yes. Anyone know why it's called Apache? We'll come back to that. Name me some other web servers. IIS. What's the thing about IIS? It's Microsoft.
Node.js?
Microsoft. Oh, Node.js, yes. Okay, other web servers? Sorry?
Nginx. NGIX.
Oh, right. You see, I can't remember. N, is it J or G?
NGINX.
NX.
Yeah.
Right. Right, so you've got some web servers over here, right? And one of those web servers is The Guardian. .co.uk. Okay. We're using TCP/IP. We're using, someone said, a domain system. What's the protocol? DNS. The domain name service that tells us how to use TCP/IP to get here. So that's wonderful. So it's on his laptop. I'm just going to put laptop there. And we've got the server over here. That's fantastic. So we've set this conversation up with a web server, but it's the reason it's called Apache is there was a previous version of this server, which was released by well, it doesn't matter who it was released by, but Apache was updated more regularly, so they kept patching the source code, and this was a patchy version of the standard server. Eventually, Apache became the. But there you go. Who says computer scientists don't have a sense of humour? Right, there you go. So what? So this you have talk HTTP over here, and something's going to happen. What will happen? Come on, attention. What happens? What happens next?
Download
Yeah, you're going to download something. What are you going to download?
HTML page.
HTML. Oh.
HTML, so we've got some HTML. Fantastic, which stands for, not you. So I'm going over here. HTML stands for. Okay, I consider that an affront to my authority. I'm going to take it! Take it. So, hypertext markup language. And first of all, you need to know what hypertext means, then you need to know what markup means, and we'll kind of discuss those later. So, HTML, what's HTML? What does HTML do? What's its function? Used for defining the structure of a web page. In terms, so what kind of stuff would it define?
Metadata.
Layout of a static web page.
Yeah. So it's a data format for explaining what's on a web page, what's going to appear on your screen. And what kind of things might appear on your screen? What kind of text might you have as well as the text? Images! Right. Right. What sort of data formats are images going to be in? PNG. What does that stand for? Yes, well done. Another kind of image. JPEG. Also GIF or GIF. So we've got images. So we've got text, which can be in HTML, sort of rich text. Images. What other kind of stuff? Videos. Yeah. What sort of media?
Video.
Audio. So media, audio. Name me some formats. How do you get audio off the web? MP3. Yeah. Okay. Other media, other data formats?
WAV.
Pardon?
WAV.
WMV, which is a kind of
Video.
pardon?
Video.
Which is kind of video, the container format for video. Yes. Well done. So there are all sorts of other kinds of text format that you can have. XML.
RDF.
Extensible markup language. Yes.
RDF.
RDF. Is that text? I'm going to
No,
go
no, it's not text.
more with data.
Yes.
I'll put data over here. So text over here.
JSON. Yeah.
Oh, JSON in the data bit. Yes, well done. But some more text. What's a really common format? CSV for data. What's a really common format for text?
TXT.
Oh, text, yes. Yeah, okay. Nice and reductive. But for pretty text, for formatted text with
Font.
oh, not quite. No, I've had CSS, I have fonts. I'll come back to
I was
that.
going to go JavaScript, but maybe
JavaScript, no.
No.
So what? Pardon?
RTF.
RTF. Who knows what RTF is?
Rich text.
Rich text format, said the man with the beard.
Well done.
RTF. Rich text format, which is by, no one uses it because it is by Microsoft. Well done. But, so not RTF, but something that ends in F, that has 3 letters, and is really common for information that you read on the web. PDF. Well done. PDF, which stands for pardon? Portable document format, because you can fit it in a little suitcase,
Yeah.
and that's just the documentation. But no, so it's like it describes the marks that you put on a page or on a screen, and so it says where you want to have some where you want the text to be, what font. Now, someone says fonts. Okay, so you can send fonts over the web. Anyone know the format that you use? Do you know? I can't remember. I don't know. Right, you can look that up. Fonts.
Fonts.
There are loads of different ones, and I can't remember any of them. OCS, I think.
Yeah.
Pardon? There's TrueType.
True type.
There's a new font standard that's out just from the W3C at the moment.
You can have SVG fonts.
Pardon?
That's what.
Is it?
Yeah.
WOF. Is it actually pronounced WOF? And it stands for?
Web Open Font Format, probably.
Wow, lovely.
Oh, definitely.
Lovely. Right, okay. So, this is our picture of the web that has something missing. We've got all this stuff, we've got the information, we've got the servers, we've got the conversation going on, the internet, we've got a laptop. What's at this end?
Operating system.
Browser.
Operating system, yes.
Browser.
So from the client, you've got the server, you've also got the client. So browser. So right. Name me your most used browser.
Chrome.
Safari.
Oh, Firefox. Okay, hang on. We'll put these down. Firefox, Chrome.
So boring. I just think it's Safari.
Oh, more starting out already. Any others? Edge.
Don't use it.
Don't like it.
Come on then. If you're going to say Edge, you have to say IE, yeah. Any others?
Safari. Tor.
Yeah.
Tor.
Oh, you've been getting up to some certainly is a breakfast.
It is.
I've never used it. I'm not quite sure where it fits in the ecosystem. Right.
Anonymous browser.
Where is right? Is anyone going to say Safari? Yeah.
You've been doing some weird shit, haven't you?
No, I haven't even doing
Right.
it.
Opera. Any Opera users?
Yes.
Oh, right. Okay.
I had to use it.
Okay, so I'm going to right. How many Firefox users here? Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. How many Chrome users here?
I don't really mind. Okay.
So, how many Safari users here?
One.
Okay. How many Edge users? Just two. No, come on, you said Edge. Okay, one Edge user. Sorry. Opera. Oh, someone wants to use it. Okay, so yeah, so there's this whole infrastructure, but so they all rely on HTTP to have these conversations. They all use HTML, and all they know how to interpret this stuff, so you can have lots of different browsers, and of course, the browsers you might have apps, phone apps that actually use not a browser client, but will use the framework. So you have things like WebKit, which you can include inside your app to show an HTML view, even if you're not just a general purpose browser. So now, right, so this is the web infrastructure. It's all built on top of this. Where are we going? Red, here we go. So it's built on top of the internet. So you've got TCP, IP, internet, DNS, loads of cables to connect your browser to your servers via HTTP. So you use that. And this is what you can put in place. These are the things that you can use on the web, all the different sorts of information. So this is in summary. Oh, hang on. It'd be good if I put that back. The web architecture consists of a whole load of stuff. They like to call the stuff resources. So things that are out on the web. So pictures and web pages and websites, fonts and style sheets. I forgot to put the style sheets on. We'll cover those later. They're all things that exist on the web, and they have their own identifiers. They have their own URIs, Universal Resource Identifiers. So you could, like everything that you put on your hard disk has a file name in a directory. Everything that you put on the web has an identifier. And those identifiers, those resources that you've identified, have different representations in different formats. So I could get the Guardian down in HTML or PDF. And the way depending on what kind of format's been made for it, what kind of representation is allowed for that. And those resources can be obtained by asking the internet for them, by setting up a conversation using the HTTP protocol. And it's these three things that are the key parts of the web architecture. The way that you identify resources, the way that you interact with the internet to ask for them, and the formats that the web kind of says, yeah, these are the things you should know about, this is how you interpret them. And so from that you can produce, because the HTML allows you to put URIs, URLs, different ways of addressing resources inside your document, you end up with linked sets of HTML pages, of web pages on websites that are all linked to each other. We'll look at how that happens in the next lecture or so. Or it can be data that embeds URIs and identifiers inside the data and is interpreted as being a reference to some other data that you can find on the web. So your documents and your data, this is the principle of the web. It's not the architecture, it's link stuff together, make stuff refer to other stuff, use identifiers, and you can identify obviously any kind of resource, magazines, databases, people even. And so these web principles say that anything that's interesting that you want to be on the web, that you want to talk about, should be given a URI. All of these URIs should be what they call dereferenceable, meaning that you can look them up using the internet with the HTTP protocol, and what you get when you look them up is the representation of that resource in a standard format. And when you get that resource, it should be interlinked with other data. And so you have an experience that we're all very familiar with, where the client will send a request through HTTP over the internet to a server, and they get a response, and in that response they'll find a piece of HTML, an image, a bit of video or something. In the old days, we used to have, just on the internet, we just used to have file transfer, which was very similar to HTTP, was very similar to the web, except that we just typed commands on the computer, and we would we'd give the address of a computer somewhere on the internet. We'd ask to like a bit like how many of you have actually used MS-DOS command prompts? Yeah. So you'd CD to the right directory, and then you'd have a look at the listing of what files were in that directory. It's just that they'd be on a different computer, and then you download those files. But the point about this, the point about what we had, and why the web was a new invention, was that all these things existed on your hard disk. And so you take a listing of someone's hard disk, and then you identify the file that you wanted, and you download it to your hard disk. And then when it was on your hard disk, you would send it to your printer, okay? And you would print it out to have a look at it. And so everything in the internet was all about downloading. It was about communications, it was about downloading data, and then doing something with it. The web invented browsing. The web meant that, I'll tell you about this in a minute. The web meant that you could look at something on a screen, click on a link, and see something else on the screen. That hadn't happened before. Okay, and so this HTTP, HTML, URIs, that brought together enough that you could build on what was present already, the communications of the internet. So, I want you to remember the three components of the internet architecture, of the web architecture, sorry, the web architecture. I'm going to do it to you by making you sing it in the form of a British nursery rhyme that we teach to children, all right? Now, actually, we don't teach the web architecture to children, but there is a nursery rhyme whose origins are lost in the no one knows why. There's lots of guesses why we have this nursery rhyme. No one quite knows where it is. Anyway, so the
medieval pilgrimage.
Pardon?
It's about medieval pilgrimage.
That's one theory. We can talk about that later, but we only have 45 seconds. Right. So the words "Mary, Mary, quite contrary, how did the garden grow with silver bells and cockle shells and pretty maids all in a row." I am going to sing that to you, right? So you know the tune. Nick is going to help me.
No, I'm not.
All right. I haven't done this for 365 days. Let's see if it still works. Mary, Mary, quite contrary, how does your garden grow? With silver bells and cockle shells and pretty maids all in a row. Right, that's something that children learn. And now I want to teach you the version which is about the web architecture. Alright? So Tim Berners-Lee, the chap who invented the World Wide Web, or invented the World Wide Web architecture, his email address at MIT is TimBL, pronounced Timble. Alright? So this is the version. I'm going to sing it once. You're going to sing it after me, and this is called learning reinforcement. Right? When it comes to the exam in 3 months' time, you are going to remember what the web architecture is, and you are going to get excellent marks. Right, so it goes. Oh, I just realised, because I edited this down, I've forgotten. Get and post, they're part of the HTTP protocol, and I haven't got a slide on that anymore, and I forgot to tell you about that. So this bit is about URLs, which is URIs, which is all about the identification. HTML, that's data formats, that's the representations of the resources, and get and post, that's the HTTP conversation that you have. So, Timble, Timble, very nimble, how does your linked web grow? With URLs and HTML and get and posts all in a row. Okay, feeling warmed up? Feeling a bit... Come on, if Beyonce can do this, come on, okay, so... Timble, Timble, very nimble, how does your linked web grow? With URLs and HTML and get posts all in a row. Very well done. Okay, so these are the 3 parts of the web architecture. The next couple of lectures that you have will be with Ricky at the back. Hello. So we are going to look at HTML and do a bit of practice around that. There are a number of resources for learning HTML. We'll give you a Ricky will give you a whistle-stop tour of HTML5. There are lots of resources that we'll point at if you've not done any HTML before. I know some of you have, some of you haven't. Lots of resources on the web that you can use, we'll point you at, and then we'll do that'll be on Thursday, and then on Friday will be a kind of a practical session and discussion about that, and then we'll move on to the next topic next week. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
See you on Thursday.